Greetings everyone, I'm Maria Bregman, and you're on the Creativities channel.
Today, we will explore the main aspects of the art of ancient Greece, from its origins in antiquity to the Hellenistic era. The art of the ancient Greeks is of great importance to the whole of world culture. It had a huge influence on the development of European art and philosophy. Ancient Greece is astonishing in its diversity and richness of artistic expression. Ancient Greek sculpture, architecture, and painting reflect the ideals of beauty, harmony, and perfection. Great masters such as Fidus, Cidos, and Zeus. The stately created unique works of art that still delight in their beauty and skill. Greek art had a significant influence on other cultures, including Roman, Byzantine, and modern European culture. It became a model and inspiration for many artists and architects. We will now look at the development of Greek art from antiquity to Hellenism, study its main features and characteristics, and also talk about the influence it had on world art. First, let's enter the world of the Archaic Period of Greek art, when sculpture and architecture began to acquire their characteristic features. The Archaic Period of Greek art, which lasted from about 800 to 500 BC, was a time of significant changes in sculpture and architecture. During this period, Greek artists and architects began to develop their own styles and techniques, which later became characteristic of classical art. Sculpture in the Archaic Period began to take on more naturalistic forms. One of the most famous masters of this period was Fidus, who created such masterpieces as the statue of Athena Parthenos in the Parthenon. His works were characterized by grace and harmony, as well as the pursuit of ideals of beauty and perfection. Another famous sculptor of this period was Cidos, who was renowned for his depictions of Athenian athletes. He developed a canon of proportions for depicting the human body, which became the bases for many later works. Another outstanding sculptor was Myrone, who created works such as Discobolus and the Lord of Rama. His works were characterized by their dynamism and emotional expressiveness. In terms of architecture, during the Archaic Period, Greek temples began to acquire their characteristic features, such as colonnades, friezes, and metopes. These architectural elements were used to create majestic structures that became symbols of Greek civilization. Overall, the Archaic Period of Greek art was a time of significant development in sculpture and architecture, which laid the foundations for subsequent eras. The ideals of beauty, harmony, and perfection embodied in the works of the masters of this period continue to inspire artists and architects throughout the world. Let's move on to the Classical Period, when Greek art was at its height. This period in Greek art falls between the VIV centuries BC. The Classical Period was characterized by a flourishing of architecture, sculpture, painting, and philosophy. Greek artists and architects strove for perfection in form, proportion, and harmony, resulting in the creation of majestic structures. One of the most famous architectural masterpieces of this period is the Parthenon, a temple built on the Acropolis in Athens in honor of the goddess Athena. The Parthenon is considered an example of ancient Greek Doric architecture. Its strict proportions, perfectly balanced columns, and exquisite details make it one of the greatest monuments of ancient architecture. Another majestic structure from the Classical Period is the Temple of Olympian Zeus in Athens. This temple was built to honor the main god of ancient Greek mythology, Zeus. It was decorated with marble sculptures and bas-reliefs, demonstrating the highest skill of ancient Greek sculptors. The principles underlying the creation of these majestic structures included the pursuit of harmony, symmetry, and balance. Ancient Greek architects and artists also paid great attention to detail and proportion, striving for the ideal form. All this made their buildings not only functional, but also magnificent works of art that have delighted people for many centuries. Let's take a closer look at the Hellenistic period, when Greek art began to influence other cultures and traditions. The Hellenistic period, which lasted from the 4th century BC to the 1st century AD, was an important time in the history of Greek art, when Greek culture, art, and thought began to have a strong influence on other cultures and traditions. During this period, Greek artists began to experiment with new techniques, styles, and themes, creating magnificent works of art that continue to inspire and delight us with their beauty and depth. One of the most important new trends that developed during the Hellenistic period was realism in art. Greek sculptors sought to convey not only the external beauty of figures, but also their characters and emotions. Architecture also became more realistic, with elements of movement and three-dimensionality. In painting, the Greeks began to use new techniques such as linear and aerial perspective to create depth and volume in their paintings. They also used new materials such as oils and colored paints to create vivid and realistic images. One of the most famous figures of the Hellenistic period was the sculptor Praxiteles, who created masterpieces such as Apoxyomenes and Hermes with the child Dionysus. His works were characterized by incredible elegance and natural proportion. In Hellenistic architecture, there was a noticeable tendency towards greater elegance and sophistication. A famous example of such a structure is the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and a symbol of Alexandria's power and cultural influence. The artistic thinking of the Greeks during the Hellenistic period became more philosophical and rational. They strove not only to create beautiful works of art, but also to convey complex ideas and concepts through their work. Their art became a tool for identifying and expressing deep thoughts about the world and human nature. It should be noted that during the Hellenistic period, Greek art became popular and in demand not only in Greece itself, but also beyond its borders. It had a strong influence on Roman culture, as well as on Arab and Asian art. The Hellenistic period was the golden age of Greek art and left us with a legacy of great artistic achievements. Thanks to its influence and inspiration, we still admire the beauty and high ideals contained in the works of this period. The whole development of Greek art from antiquity to Hellenism is an amazing example of how art can reflect the spirit of the times and influence world culture. We hope that our history has helped you to better understand the art of ancient Greece. Thank you for your attention.